Hello everyone and welcome to EDT 503 Module 3. So this is going to be another big week for us, obviously. Last week we were able to form groups, and for this instance we have just one large group for the common assignment, which will make, I guess, things easier since we're all in this together, all on the same page. So let's go through the action sheet carefully and let's look at some of the expectations for the week. So first off the bat, I'm going to ask you to meet with your group, okay, and discuss the common assignment. Now here is the official link for the common assignment. Just click on that and this will load up for you, and please read this carefully. The basic idea is that you are creating a scenario where you are envisioning yourself as tech integrators, perhaps on a technology committee, and you're trying to help others integrate technology into their classrooms, right? Another big part of this common assignment is going to really require the group to use Google Apps for Education, or more currently known as G Suite, to collaborate and to produce finished products. All right. Now, again, these skills that we're learning this week and the weeks to come can be transferred to other tools like Microsoft Office 365, certainly, but we're going to focus on G Suite for this course because, again, we're trying to also prepare our students and candidates to pass the Google Level 1 educator exams and even Level 2 educator exams. Okay, so please read through this carefully. Here's the scenario, right? Your district has a new technology committee, you're asked to be a member, and you're drafting a new technology plan for the district. In addition, the committee, you're also going to draft a curriculum and a skill set so you can help teachers have real concrete tools to use to achieve success in their classrooms. Okay, so a collaborative part of it, you're going to use Google Docs and Google Groups and even Google Hangouts if you can to facilitate collaboration. Okay, so this is important. So here's the setting. You're going to decide on what setting. This is really important. What grade levels or level and subject. All right, since we're working with one group, this is going to be sort of just, hopefully we can work together on this and make a nice group that everybody can agree on and feel that they can make a vested interest in that group. The group also must develop a detailed skill plan for the selected grade. This means, like, what technology skills are you going to try to implement in that grade level? We're going to follow the ISTE standards. All right, so please refer to a posted copy of this. And I'm sorry, this link will be fixed. I will give you a link to the ISTE standards right here for you, so you can just click on those right away. All right, that'll be easy for you. So also, you're going to conduct a needs assessment that's part of your observation of your building that you're working with to help develop your skill plan. All right, and it should be a recommendation of 1 to 3 year time frames. Okay, so at the end of this, you're going to present all your findings as a Google site, and I'm going to help you guide you through that process if you're new to that process. Okay, and you're also going to make an example learning module, all right, where you actually give a unit and you detail in that unit with lesson plans and ideas that clearly demonstrate technology integration. All right, and obviously in this course we're always scholar practitioners, so we're going to try to base our findings on real academic research in these areas and incorporate that research into your discussions, into your Google site, and how that research has informed you, helped you to make these decisions. And at minimum, we're looking at 5 scholarly sources for that. Okay, for an individual piece, you're going to critique yourself and your group to sort of see how you did. All right. You're also going to include an interview from your field experience. You're going to hopefully interview someone in your building, a technology integrator, another teacher, and this is all part of the common assignment. Okay, so the project timeline, here it is. We're going to use Google Apps and G Suite, and I have these links here for you. So remember, here's the link to the Google Doc I shared even in Module 2. That clearly details how to use various Google Apps for Education. This is what I use with my teachers at Clarence, as well as I offer professional development for them. So this Google Doc, you can even scan it, or you can go through a lot of the videos. These are larger, longer videos that are more comprehensive, but here are the detailed videos: how to use Drive, how to use Google Docs, and examples of Google Docs that I've used with my students, getting to know slides, getting to know forms. And Google Classroom is a little bit out of the reach of what we're doing in this particular one, but still very useful. Okay, and then the other Google Doc that I already shared with you is about advanced Google Apps for Education. And here as well, we're going to sort of expand upon it, what we did with that first one, and here it gets into some of the details like Chrome extensions, excuse me, a little faster, Chrome extensions, right? apps, popular add-ons, using Tab Cloud, adding docs and add-ons for docs, slides. Slide Carnival is great. Using Pull Everywhere with your Google Slides, Google Forms, Google Calendar, a little bit of virtual reality in the classroom, which we're going to come back and do more in Module 4. And then here's a great one for Google Sites at the end of this. These are all about virtual reality in the classroom. Some of my wacky students. And then Google Sites, how to use Google Sites, and how I use Google Sites with my students. Okay, so this will be helpful for you as you move through the assignment. Okay, so week 2, we've already done this. You've established your groups. Now I'm going to ask you to, once you have a group, to create a Google group to facilitate communication. I think this would be a nice way to kind of organize everything. You can do it through Schoology, but I'm really see if we can maybe perhaps move beyond Schoology and use some other examples here. Okay, so directions from week 3. One member is going to create a Google group to facilitate collaboration within the group. Please add me to the Google group at this. This is a Google account address. All right, and then here are some help files on how to use Google Groups, creating a group, managing a group, and adding members to a group. I'm also going to ask you to create a Google Calendar to keep track of important dates in the project and also important dates for yourself. Set your own timeline, set your own deadlines. Use this as a calendar to collaborate. And again, add me to that calendar so I can do this. Here's a video that I made how using Google Calendar, but then you also have some, that should be super helpful for you. Okay, if you can, now that's not required, but Google Hangouts is a great way to have a video chat with other people virtually, right? And here's all the links to help you to get started with that. If you want to invite me, we'll see if I'm available at the time as well. That'd be great. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. And certainly you're going to create a Google Doc now to construct a rough draft of the major parts of the setting. Skill plan, perhaps just rough outline, even some of your references, and even list the group's project. Please share a link to that Google Doc. That's important. Share a link, and I will highlight that, right, to the Schoology Drop group project summary. Okay, so that's all for week 3. We'll come back to week 6 later. This is everything's pretty much due in week 6 for the major group parts of the project, and then in week 7 are more of the individual parts of the project are due as well. Here are the objectives. They're all follow the ISTE standards. If you want to click here, these are the rubrics that I'm going to be using to assess you on this particular project. Okay, so those will all be used later as well. So you can sort of look through that as a rubric of how you will be assessed. Okay, so that's sort of the common assignment in a nutshell. All right, so this is right from the common assignment again. Create a Google group this week, add me to the group, create a Google Calendar, add me to the calendar, meet with your group this week, either virtually through emails or the Google group chats, or try to schedule a hangout. That would be great. And then by the end of you're creating a Google Doc and sharing all your progress and what you've done and a rough draft. And this will be due by the end of the week. Okay, this isn't due by Wednesday. This is due by the end of the week. But I just gave everything to you here. All right. So I know it's a lot, but we're still moving ahead in other topics and other aspects of this. But everything that we do the next couple of weeks should help make this project better for you. So this week we're focusing on podcasting and screencasting, creating audio and video media and recordings to help your students or have students create these. So this is a prompt for the week. I've also included examples of screencasts that I've made for my students, and I want you to consider this model. And here we're sort of introducing you in this course to the flipped model. If you're taking EDT 504 and 505, you're going to expand upon that. You also have the opportunity to get flipped level certification in that class. So that's a great thing for you. Okay, so the first post is due by the 13th. Again, find another scholarly article that relates to this, and maybe this would be one you can even use in your final project. So try to, proverbially kill 2 birds with 1 stone as you're working on this, and include a link, but easier to include a file to that article right in your post. All right, and that's by Wednesday the 13th, and now by Sunday the 17th, you would submit your final summary of your project. So after you've done certainly the group project, another thing I'm going to ask you to do for the end of the week is to create your own podcast or your own screencast. Maybe you already made one, and that's fine. Maybe some of these tools are new to you that I'm demonstrating this week. But again, also perhaps it might be a little early, but you're going to be required to do screencasts in your common assignment. So once again, this might be another opportunity to perhaps add or create material for that as well. All right. So this would be great. So let's go into our Schoology page. So here we are. There's the action sheet. Here's the materials for the week. Oh, excuse me. Let me go back to this one. Sorry about that. Let's go back to our courses. And here we go into Module 3. So here's the materials for the week. I have an article about podcasting. That's pretty interesting. It's a little bit older now because, again, before we had all this great screencasting technology, people were creating more audio broadcasts. But still, even though it's almost 10 years old now, I can't believe it already, it has some great ideas of how you can use audio recordings and even use podcasts within a lesson, either to create your own or to have students find ones or make their own as well. Okay. Then we have another article about podcasting in instruction, which is interesting as well. So I think this would be useful as you're thinking about how to use these tools in your own classroom. Okay. So again, it's a little bit older, but the ideas behind them are great. Okay. So please give those a look, please. All right. Then I have some Google Docs that I've created. The first one is a basics of screencasting. Okay. So again, these are Google Docs that I've created to help teachers in this program and in my own district to use technology in their classroom. So it says it's a course, but it's not really. So this is a screencast introduction. If you want to watch it, that'd be great. This talks about what is screencasting, talks about some great screencasting tools like Screencast-O-Matic. Then talks about Screencastify on a Chromebook, which is really super useful. All right. I use that oftentimes when I do my video replies to you. All right. Then we get into a little bit of ideas of the flipped classroom. I talk about how I've changed my ideas and how my thoughts are in a flipped classroom. And I give you some examples of flipped classroom projects that I've done with my students. Okay. And how I use even Edpuzzle with my flipped classroom students. So that might be a really useful one for you. And then there's some great resources here about screencasting. And I also include them in the materials folder. These are great articles and resources, even like John Berman's site. We work with John Berman directly. We're partners with him in giving our students flipped certification. So it's a great resource. And a lot of those resources are here as well. Then I have this advanced screencasting Google Doc, which just takes it to the next level. So this is great to look at some of the other tools that are available out there for doing a little bit more editing and screencasts and really doing some fun stuff with that. So I talk a lot about using some awesome products like Snagit and Camtasia, which are just great for both PCs and Macs. Camtasia is what I'm using right now to create this screencast because I can edit it, I can add hotspots to it, I can add annotations to it. So I use this a lot with my video productions. All right, and how to screencast from like an iPad, also using things like Explain Everything. So just some great things and some Microsoft tools as well that I honestly I'm not as familiar with, but I wanted to give you just some information about them, okay, as well, and how you then tie it all together. And this is a really important video, using Edpuzzle within Schoology to monitor your screencast, to monitor content in a flipped classroom. So please take a look at that, okay? So there's some fun things there for you to look at. And then again, this is another one similar when I did for Canisius College's overall webinar about screencasting as a whole. And we got some great links to some screencasting sites like Kathy Schrock's guide. These are also on the other Google Docs. Okay. Now, this is one of my very first screencasts. If you want to look at it, all right. I'll pause it here. It's rough. It's raw. I just screencasted a PDF file. Okay, so when I first started doing this. Okay. But then here's a little more of an advanced screencast that I've made, mostly using Camtasia, what I'm using right now, which was much more of a produced video in terms of me adding effects and other aspects to that. So please take a look at that. That's like one of the ones I use with my history students. And then we have, again, this is a really important video. I'm asking you to watch it again about Edpuzzle, how you can then monitor in a flipped classroom and have accountability. Super important, so please watch that video that I made about that. All right, then we have an article that I wrote, a chapter for a book on the flipped classroom. Then I give you some insights on how I approached it, how I used it. Okay, it's just a PDF file. You don't have to read all of it, certainly, but I think it gives you some great insights into what my thought process was in the flipped classroom model. So there's some really good things there in that particular chapter. Okay, and then back to the materials finally. we have a small little piece from John Berman and Aaron Sams about flipped learning. This gives you great insights into just a basic little article about flipped learning. It's a great place to start. So please take a look at that. Okay. All right. And then I have some links to kind of wrap it up for the materials week. We have some links to expert tips for flipped classroom, an online guide, and some great websites on flipped learning. All right, so some great things to take a look at. I know there's a lot here. I'm asking you to look at least half of it, I hope. Save the rest of it for later, but it's really great stuff, so please take a look at this to help you for your own work, your own students, and for your final project. All right, now, to wrap it up, here are the drops for the discussion, right? Here's where you would drop the summary group project link of the Google Doc. All right, and here's where you would also drop your podcast. Well, please make sure you also include the podcast in your discussion so other folks can see your podcast. So please post a link to your podcast or screencast here, and also so I can grade it individually here. And also for the final project, here are some examples of final projects that students did. These Google Slides, Google Docs, some other things that people did. Take a look at them. Again, I'm going to require you guys to use Google Sites, and that would be great. I think this one was an example. Nope, this they used TAC, which was kind of great, and it might have been taken down. All right, but you can take some look at some of this content that students did for their final project, and I'll continue to update this as well. Okay, so hope that made sense. A lot going on, I know. If you have any questions, certainly let me know, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.